DoorDash, Uber Eats to move tipping prompt to after food is delivered in New York City. It's a pretty big deal. It may not sound like it, but it's a pretty big deal. DoorDash and Uber Eats are moving tip prompts to after deliveries are completed following a new mandate in New York City. The online food delivery platform has announced the move to prompt users in New York City to tip workers after delivery is completed, after the city mandated an increase to minimum wage hours for workers that will eventually raise it to just under $20 per hour by 2025. Legislation was passed over the summer by New York City requiring a minimum wage law for restaurant delivery workers, almost tripling the rate from $7.09 per hour to $17.96 per hour. Despite an appeal from food delivery platforms including Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub, the appellate division of New York State Supreme Court upheld the legislation, ensuring the minimum wage for food delivery workers would rise. The minimum wage for app-based drivers workers in New York City decision now mandates the $17.96 per hour, which will eventually increase to $19.96 per hour by April 2025. So here's why and how DoorDash and Uber Eats is removing the tip and prompt in New York City, and how it's going to affect drivers, at least my opinion on how it's going to affect drivers. In New York City, both Uber Eats and DoorDash will move the prompt for customers to tip their delivery workers. Both companies announced in December. It's December. This change will not apply to any customers outside of New York City, and the reason for that is because New York City is mandating this. We honestly and truly never really know how things are going to shake out when large-scale things are changed. And I can see why DoorDash and Uber Eats might bring this to the rest of their platform. DoorDash said that the option to tip within the app for customers in New York City will move to after checkout. If you do DoorDash, then you already know why this is bad. And if you don't, I'm going to explain it. Customers will be able to tip their delivery worker after checkout to 30 days after the order. And DoorDash said 100% of its tips will go directly to the worker. DoorDash said workers for the app who deliver in New York City will now earn at least $23.93 per hour of active time, excluding tips. Any earnings will be reviewed weekly to see if their pay meets the earnings minimum. DoorDash said in a release, and any workers who earn below the required minimum will receive a pay adjustment. Because of the pay changes for delivery workers, DoorDash said that it's pausing its priority access program, which gave delivery workers with high ratings on the app priority on higher paying offers. Listen, I have access to DoorDash. I've tried it a little bit, but I can't justify doing it because I make more money with Uber and Lyft, like period. If you have been working hard in New York City to get your acceptance rate up and become a priority access driver, which, you know, you get better orders for being a good driver, and I think that's fair. It sucks that now, because of a New York law, I'm not gonna say it's because of the New York City law, DoorDash is responding to this law by removing the priority on higher paying offers. I think that's because they have to spread the pay around to these other drivers at the bottom of the barrel who aren't doing as well as you in order to make sure like they get their hourly wage up. So it's a little unfair to drivers at the higher end. I strongly believe that, you know, the more you do, the more you should be getting paid. You know, if you're doing what the platform is asking you to do, the platform should be throwing better orders at you. And now that's going away in New York City. And that's something for everyone, everywhere who uses DoorDash to watch. Similar to DoorDash, Uber Eats announced that delivery workers will make at least $23.93 an hour for time spent making deliveries, and any tips will be given in full. So they claim, because we know that Uber in the past has been sued for not giving to the drivers. Like there's literally times where passengers will say, hey, I'm tipping you in the app. Here's a tip. Driver will get the amount, like look at it on their phone and the tip's just not there. Like there's documented times where that has happened. Could it be a glitch? Sure. Could it be theft? Possibly. Tip prompt for customers in New York City will be available after their order has been delivered. Delivery workers who make less than the minimum rate will automatically receive the difference from Uber Eats by the end of day every Thursday. Okay. This is interesting because there are two major concepts that float around in the food delivery community. And one of them is no tip, no trip, right? So this is a post from a user on Reddit in the DoorDash subreddit. Reddit is where regular people like me and you go to like forums. For those of you who are old enough to remember forums, and we kind of just, you know, talk about whatever we want to talk about. So this post is called No Tip, No Trip. Make this your policy as a driver. I don't care if it's 1 mile, solo, or batch. You can tell which ones have no tip. Stop accepting. Tip is your bidding for a driver to bring you your order. It is not the driver's fault if your order shows up an hour later cold. It's because you didn't tip enough for a trip. If by some means you do get your order cold, be grateful you even got your food because it should have just been left at the restaurant. No tip, no trip. And I'm not saying that I agree with this. I'm not saying I disagree with this. I'm simply sharing the sentiment of what's normal out there. This is a pretty big thought process by a lot of DoorDash drivers in the community. For example, this is Pedro Doordash Santiago. He's another YouTuber, 70,000 subscribers. He's very well known in the DoorDash community. And this is his experience, right? Again, this isn't him saying he agrees with it or disagree with it. He may very well, he may very not. I don't consume his content enough to know, but he is going to show us an example of what happens when you don't pre-tip on DoorDash.
So this order was supposed to be 9:45 to 10 a.m. It's 10:24. Can you say no tip, no trip? You sure can.
So as you can see, there is no tip on this order, $35 order, and no one is taking it. And I've seen, let me see if I can find it right now. McDonald's DoorDash no tip. And so here you go. So there you go. This came from a viral video. All these orders are McDonald's orders where people aren't tipping. So this is what happens, right? So it's a sentiment that's shared by a lot of people that if you don't tip, your order is going to be late. So it's going to be interesting to see how drivers in New York City react to this. So it's going to be great for customers because one, not feeling the pressure to tip before you actually get your food might, right? This is big might. It might lead to better and faster services. I used to work at Pizza Hut, coming in hot, Pizza Hut shirt. I used to work there. And I knew that the faster I delivered something, the better service I provided when I delivered that thing, the more likely I'd be tipped. No matter what, there are people that no matter what you do, they're not going to pay you a tip because they ain't got no money. They shouldn't be eating out. And I think that it's going to be, drivers are going to be more frustrated at the people who don't tip because they can no longer make that decision of whether they should or shouldn't take an order based off of the pre-tipped amount. Now, despite the fact that, like, how can I phrase it? So even though drivers use tip as a method to determine how quickly they're going to deliver something or if they even take an order, customers have caught on to that. So that's given birth to something that is called tip baiting. So tip baiting is when a customer leaves a tip with the intent of enticing a driver to accept their order. Then they remove the tip after the order is delivered. By doing this, the customer gets their order delivered to them quickly and saves money by not tipping. On the other hand, this change in New York City will stop tip baiting. So I feel like tip baiting isn't as widespread as not tip baiting. Tip baiting in New York City is going to go away completely, for better or worse, in favor of another policy. I did see something this week. I didn't prepare to talk about it. I saw something on Reddit, Lyft pre-tip. I think pre-tipping is coming to Lyft, and I saw it on the internet. Lyft adds pre-tip. So this was posted 3 days ago. Here's a picture of it. See if we can make it bigger. I think I just made it worse. All right, so notification center. Well, this is a screenshot from their phone. Time sensitive. Lyft requests 8 minutes away. $1.90 tip added after the ride. This is the first time I've ever seen it. If you've seen this in your market, please let me know. But I'm here for this. I think that's a great incentive for people who can afford it to encourage drivers to get the order quicker, right? If I was, even as a customer, I like to have that option. If I can tip to get my food faster, I'm going to do it. I'll do it. I'm honestly desperate for my food if I want someone to deliver it to me. So some of the comments from this, well, I've never seen that before. Awesome feature. This would be a great feature. And I do hope it comes to Lyft, and I hope it comes to Uber, right? I drive Lyft a lot, but this is where competition can be great for everyone. Uber's gonna see this and be like, okay, we got to step up and do this. This might be really good since passengers can bribe. I'm not even looking at it right now, so I don't know if I was talking and showing you guys. So I'll go through it again. So Lyft request 8 minutes away, $1.90 $1.90 tip added after the ride. There you have it. Screenshot. It's real. Never seen that before. Awesome feature. This might be really good since passengers can bribe drivers when they are rejected over and over from a bullshit ride. This is good, right? It sounds unfortunate, right? For example, this past weekend, there was a whole bunch of things happening like that were Christmas related, a bunch of Christmas parties, a bunch of people out and about. And the surge was absolutely wild. And yet people going far away, but drivers don't want to take people far away because it's taking them out of the surge. But if you're able to entice a passenger with a great ride because you're adding the tip to it, they're going to get home. Give them the option. I don't see why not giving them the option to do this is so bad, right? Of course, not having the option will like, maybe it would be unfair for those who can't afford to tip up front, but then so what? This is a world of supply and demand. This is capitalism. I don't see what the issue is. So this happened in Phoenix. They taken away the surge for this. Citation needed. I don't know what he's saying. That's probably an assumption, but they've been taking away surge regardless. And if they're taking away surge and they're giving us something instead, I'll take it, because they've just been taking away surge without giving us anything in place of it. So if this is in my market, that would be amazing. So yeah, pretty dope, pretty cool. And I'm sure this whole situation in New York City, like every week, there's more to it. So I'm sure it'll grow. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and to all my videos if you want to stay up on this. But we have one more topic that we're going to go through.